January 27, 2010. Another week, another series of meetings in Ottawa. We've now met with each of the political parties 4 times, hosted over a dozen presentations to government departments, and briefed most of the members of the Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs. Our goal? Be sure that the views of Canadians are communicated to the people who hold the pen in Ottawa. We've had some traction, but citizen engagement doesn't seem to be a priority for the current administration. We've received some excellent feedback on our YouTube video. Over 10,000 people have viewed it through public screenings or online. I wonder how many of them will recognize the central message of the new vision, that Canada should lead by example. I'm still amazed at what this process has created. Can you imagine what Canada's role in the world would be if we focused our efforts on advancing a green economy, fostering innovation, promoting equality and human development, championing good governance, and embracing diversity? We're now in countdown mode, and I'm getting calls and emails from people across the country that don't want to see Canada's world end. When I set the 3-year time frame, I don't think I was preparing for this moment. Clearly, the Canada's World process has had an impact on people, on the way we talk about global issues and how we feel as Canadians. When we started it, I'd hoped that we would plant a seed that probably wouldn't bear fruit for 30 years. But I'm already starting to see the sprouts emerge.
Canada's World is a great first step, because the first step towards people sort of changing foreign policy is people believing that they can.
To come into a foreign policy dialogue group as a young woman and be able to take on significant amounts of responsibilities really showed me that it is possible to bring about a change in the way that we think about politics, especially in Canada.
As someone who wishes and continues to wish that Canada had a bigger role in the current world, it was sort of hopeful for me to see the way that we can still arouse passion and that we aren't as apathetic as I thought we were.
Je crois que la leçon de ce processus, c'est qu'on peut poser des questions complexes aux citoyens lambda et il sera capable d'arriver avec des réponses aussi complexes, aussi riches et aussi surprenantes peut-être que certains politiciens ces politiciens n'arriveront jamais à la hauteur de cette richesse et de cette complexité-là.
A process like Canada's World that intentionally is reaching out to these non-traditional groups. It's often as valuable, if not more valuable, than what the experts bring to the table because it's fresh and it doesn't come from a particular point of view that might have been predicted in advance.
There's going to be impact a year, 2 years, maybe 10 years from now, 100 years from now. But there's already been a huge impact. And what it's been is that demonstration that people do genuinely care about democratic process, that they may have not participated up until this point to the extent that they've wanted to because those opportunities have not been available. We've certainly produced something very effective here and a process that people want to be involved in.
The fact that you were able to engage the number of people who got engaged in the Canada's World process suggests to me that that is one of its key strengths, that it is an engagement tool that can work and probably should be replicated on a whole number of different policy issues, not just limited to Canada's foreign policy.
We're used to the government setting up, a royal commission on this, that, and the other thing when it thinks it's got a big problem. And here's a case where the citizens got together, found resources, which was self-organizing. It was networking rather than the hierarchy and everybody giving orders or taking orders and so on. It was very interactive. It got a lot of people engaged, thoughtfully engaged, that is quite unusual. And so it's kind of like the People's Royal Commission on Canada's place in the world. I think it's unprecedented in this country.
Je pense qu'on leur a rendu un service en rappelant à tout le monde que la citoyenneté, c'est en fait quelque chose que l'on ne fait pas seulement aux élections, c'est quelque chose que l'on fait en participant au débat, en donnant son opinion, en s'impliquant dans des activités comme celle-ci qui sont des activités complètement gratuites pour lesquelles on n'a pas de rémunération. Et qu'en fait la rémunération importante, c'est celle qui vient après, lorsque l'on voit que notre gouvernement nous écoute et développe des politiques qui répondent à nos intérêts et à nos engagements éthiques et moraux.
There was a real empowerment function for me, opening up both the NGO world and the government world to kind of listen more to citizens' voices and take those voices into account.
I would like to think that when someone is appointed Foreign Affairs Minister, for the first time, and he or she is told by the department, we have, briefing books for you to read. It'd be nice to think of a foreign affairs minister who say, you know what, before the briefing books, I'm going to go out to high schools, college campuses, and I want to ask the people for whom we are all working, who are going to inherit this country, what do they think? What are their views? I like to get their views first before I get the briefing books and all that stuff. That would be a good thing, and that's what I think this process has been so instrumental in achieving.